If you are a business owner and your team feels slow, things take forever and nothing ever seems to get finished, then I want to show you something today that might be a little uncomfortable to hear, because most of the time when the team feels slow, the problem is not actually the team, okay? It's you. It's the way work is coming down from the top. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And honestly, you can fix it pretty quickly. So that's the good news, right? Now, let me explain what's actually happening, because this pattern shows up in almost every business that I look at. It's just everywhere, pretty much. You're the owner, okay? So if you're anything like most business owners, you're a visionary, you're never short on ideas, you get all sorts of new ideas all the time. You wake up, you're in the shower, you're driving somewhere, and boom, you got a new idea. It's a great idea, really fine. And you bring it to your team, and then you say, hey, we need to do this. This is what we'll be doing now. It's important. Let's get on it. I just listened to a podcast. I think it's a great idea. And your team goes, all right, good. They start working on it. But here's what you don't see, right? 2 days ago, you gave them another urgent thing, right? And the week before that, you had another brilliant idea, another urgent thing, right? So now they've got this pile of urgent projects, and every time you walk in with a new one, they quietly push the old one down to make room for the new one, right? Because the new one came from you and it's urgent, so they think, okay, this is the new priority, right? So what happens is they start things and then they keep reprioritizing them, and very little ever actually gets finished, right? And then, and this is the part that's not really fair, you look at all these half-done projects and you think, why is my team so slow? Why can't they finish anything? But the answer is they're not slow. They're just trying to guess what matters the most right now, and they have to do it over and over, sometimes every single day, because nobody told them, right? You keep changing the order on them without realizing that you're changing the order on them. So really, the slowness is not coming from your team. It's coming from the fact that nobody decided the priority before the work got handed over. And that's the whole fix, honestly. You have to be the one who decides the order before you delegate, not after, not while they are already working on something, right? You gotta decide the order before, in advance, and have a structured way of getting stuff done. So let me walk you through how this actually works in practice, because it might be simpler than you're thinking. The first thing is all the work has to go through one place. So whatever project management software you're using, and there's a bunch of them, there's Asana, ClickUp, Monday, you can use Notion. It doesn't really matter which one. You just pick one, and then everything gets delegated to that project management software. Not in a hallway conversation or in a text message or in a Slack message. Not a quick, hey, can you quickly do this, right? Because work comes at your team from 10 different directions, and then nobody can see the whole picture, including you, by the way. So you got to have one place and everything goes there, right? Then you label every single task. You give it a label: high, medium, low. That's it, 3 levels of priority. And here's the rule that then makes it work. You don't touch the mediums until the highs are done. You don't touch the lows until the mediums are done, right? So the work gets done in order, top to bottom. So if someone's working on a high priority task, then they finish it, then great, they move on to the next high, right? But if they get stuck, like they're waiting on someone or they're waiting on some information that they need to have, then they ask for help and they move on to the next thing. So they're not just sitting there and waiting, right? But the point is, they're always working on the most important thing available, right? They're not choosing. There's a list of priorities and they just go down the list of priorities. Now, this fixes 2 problems at once, which is why I love it. The first problem it fixes is the natural human thing where people do the easiest stuff first and then they leave the hard stuff for later, right? And we all know how that goes. Like the easy task, it feels good to get it done. You get to check them off. And then the hard, the important one, sits there for 2 weeks because nobody wants to touch it, right? And when the work is done in priority order, that just can't happen anymore, because the important things will get the higher priority and they have to get done first. Now, the second problem this fixes is you, because when you can see the whole list ordered by priority, then you suddenly notice like, oh, wow, I've given this person like 15 high priority tasks, right? And that's not possible. Nobody can do 15 high priority tasks. And before, you couldn't see that. So you were drowning your team without even knowing it. You were just mentioning things, hey, can you quickly do this? Can you also do this? Now it's right there. It's sitting in front of you. You can't really avoid it, right? So that's how you handle the flow of tasks. But there's another piece to this, and it's about knowing whether people are actually moving the business forward or just staying busy. So for every position on your team, you want, let's say, 3 to 5 numbers. 3 to 5 is enough, but they should be reported every week. These are the KPIs, the key numbers that tell you whether that role is winning. If you got a team of 5 people, then that's somewhere between 15 and maybe up to 25 numbers that you're looking at every week. And if you're solo right now and you're still doing it for yourself, then you still want to track your own numbers. Again, you're going to pick 3 to 5 numbers to track, and these are going to be your KPIs before you start hiring people and building out a team, right? But here's the important part, because most people get this wrong. Every one of those numbers has to connect to one of 2 things. Either it directly relates to revenue, or it relates to taking work off a leader's plate so that leader can go focus on revenue. That's it. If a number doesn't do one of those 2 things, it's not really a KPI, it's just a vanity metric, right? So you have to ask yourself, is this really important to drive the revenue of the business forward, right? So let me give you an example, because that's a really common one. A lot of businesses will say, okay, our social media KPI is we want to post every day or twice a day or whatever, right? Daily on social media. Okay, but that number doesn't tell you anything. Somebody can post every single day and you still bring in 0 customers, right? So you're just measuring activities, you're measuring how busy you are, but not results. Now, here's what happens when you change it just a little bit, right? So instead of post daily, the KPI becomes book sales calls from social media, right? Appointments, calls, whatever you want to call it, whatever is the equivalent in your business, maybe leads, right? Now you're measuring something that's actually leading to money eventually, because let's say someone books a trial or they become a lead, they show up, you close them, I don't know, 40% of the time. All right, that's huge. So the posting was never the point, right? The booking is the point, or, generating leads from social media. That's the point, right? Because that brings in revenue. So it's a different perspective. You got to change the wording. You're still posting on social media, but the KPI is totally different. So that's the KPIs. And now the last piece that ties everything together is about the difference between the 2 kinds of work, right? Some work is routine and some work is a project. And these are not the same thing. And if you treat them the same, then your business slowly breaks. Let me explain. Routines are the things that have to happen over and over, usually on a schedule, right? Like every day or every week or every month or every quarter. That's the newsletter that goes out every week to your customers or your list, or the monthly review of your numbers. They're not exciting, but they're the heartbeat of business. They're called business as usual. They have to keep happening no matter what. That's how the business runs, right? Projects are a different thing. It's a one-time thing, right? Maybe you're redesigning the website. Maybe you are launching a new product. Maybe you're doing the rebrand, whatever, right? It's a big, exciting thing that's going to move the business forward. And here's what happens with most businesses, right? The projects are shiny and new and exciting, so everybody wants to work on the project, right? And the routines are boring, so they get pushed aside. And little by little, the newsletter stops going out, right? Or you stop posting on social media, or the numbers are not getting reviewed, or the follow-up with customers is slipping, right? And first you don't notice it because none of it blows up on day one, right? It just quietly rots in the background while everybody's busy on the exciting new project, right? The rule is very simple. Routines come first. They keep the lights on, right? Always, unless you specifically tell someone otherwise. Projects only get worked on once the routines for that day or that week are handled, right? Because it's the business as usual that keeps the business alive and running, right? The projects are what grow it, but they can wait until the basics are done, because without the basics, you don't have a foundation, right? So let's pull all of this together, because really it's just one idea with sort of like, 3 different perspectives. Your team is not slow, okay? Your team is probably confused about what matters the most because the priority keeps changing on them and nobody's making a clear call before work goes out. So you fix that by deciding the order yourself, right? That's the first thing. Everything goes through one system. Everything gets a high or medium or low tag, and it's done in that order. Now, every person has 3 to 5 numbers that tie straight to the revenue. Those are the KPIs. And the third thing is routines come before projects. You keep the lights on, business as usual. When you put those 3 things in place, then here's what's going to happen, okay? The team will stop feeling slow to you because now they always know exactly what to work on. You stop feeling frustrated because you can finally see the full picture instead of just guessing, right? And usually you don't even remember all the stuff that you've been giving them until you see it flashed out on a project board in Asana or whatever you're using. And honestly, the moment you realize that the slowness was never really about them, that it was about how the work was landing on people, right? That's the moment that things will start to change for you, because you don't probably need new people if things are slow. You don't need to push harder. You don't need to become an asshole. You just need to be the one who decides the order before anything gets handed over. Start there and you'll see the difference faster than you might expect.